What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Weekly Nerd Podcast. We got a jam-packed show for you. Today we have, as always, Tony Cass.
Yeah.
We have Zach Abbiati.
Hey.
We have me. I'm Sam Brush. I'm the intimidating one, apparently.
Clearly.
Clearly
you're the jerk.
We have David Drucker.
What is up?
And we have a very special guest with us who's going to help us out with our live feed for after.
And ratings.
For our live feed after. So make sure if you are listening to this, go to the Facebook page and watch the live feed.
That's right, me again.
Serena Drucker.
Yeah.
Proof that David is married. You guys put your rings up, show the camera.
The matching
Proof
rings.
he
They're
did
beautiful.
get married.
Yeah.
I was there that day.
Like wedding photos? Isn't that like enough?
That's not real proof.
Yeah,
you can Photoshop those.
Can't you buy rings?
Since then, they've been divorced.
Oh,
Wow. That ended quick.
what's the procedure for? Like,
There
divorce
was-
presents? Is there like a registry for divorce?
Well, he did about a month ago accidentally call her mom.
Oh, I remember that. That was horrible.
And you
Way to go.
told everyone on the post-credits scene of the podcast.
It was great.
Can I get an explanation?
I don't remember the whole story. It was a total. We were in Wendy's, weren't we?
I don't remember what
Burger
triggered
King.
it.
And
I honestly can't remember what triggered
I
it.
think she asked him to go get ketchup or napkins or something like that, and he went, "Yeah, okay, mom." Like, and I was sitting there, and I'm like, "What?"
Well, that's a start.
But welcome, Serena. She might be joining us again at some point. You never know. We seem to just a fifth member just comes and goes like every week. It seems.
Time to scare people away.
Yeah, well, I'm intimidating, so we've got a jam-packed show for you today. We got really three topics. The one big one and two kind of minor ones. Right off the top. So our big one that we'll get to is Drucker came up with this. Drucker seems to come up with all of our big ideas. It's great. That's the reason we keep him around.
Yeah.
That's true.
I thought it was for my good looks.
No. Superhero fights in movies. DC, DCEU, MCU. We've got our top 5 lists. All of us have them. We're going to get to that. We're going to talk just briefly about the Daredevil teaser, when it's coming out, stuff like that, just briefly. But we want to start off first with, we talked last week that maybe it was last week, maybe the week before, Henry Cavill out as Superman. DC is rebooting their entire universe.
Ugh.
And then afterwards, a rumor has come out, pretty substantial rumor, that Henry Cavill, is lined up to play James Bond.
Yes.
And after this coming movie, Craig, for what is right now just Bond 25. They haven't named it yet because it's the 25th Bond movie.
Is that scheduled out next year?
I believe so. I don't know off the top of my head, but I
Hasn't he
think
been
so.
saying he's going to quit since like?
Yeah, but you know what
Skyfall
talks?
came out? Yeah, I guess so.
But this is supposed to be his last one, and then they're turning it over. But this is kind of big news because we talked about this, everybody thought it was going to be Idris Elba.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just
I hope so.
quick off the top, if you had to choose between Idris Elba or Henry Cavill, who are you choosing? Tony.
I'm gonna start out by saying that I liked Henry Cavill in the newest Mission Impossible movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you guys haven't seen it, it was a great movie, and he played a really good action hero star.
He was also excellent in. I know there's mixed reviews for him in Superman,
Yes.
but if you haven't seen Immortals, he's the lead in that as well,
Oh, yeah,
and he is
that's right.
excellent in that as well.
Yeah. He's played a lot of action star roles in the past, I don't know, I want to say 5 years.
Yeah, 5-6 years
he's had
probably.
quite a
right
few
around
roles, and he played a really, really good action star. So if he were to play the next James Bond, hats off to him. I think he'll do a great job.
Mm-hmm.
I think for that particular series, he will do really well.
there. I think he could do a good job continuing on the precedent now that Daniel Craig has set, because before Craig, Bond really wasn't an action hero. It was gadgets, it was one-liners and stuff like that.
It was the charm.
Yeah, Craig made it an action hero thing. What do you think, Zach? You when I said Idris Elba, you were like, mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that's who you'd go with.
If it's Cavill, that's great. I do like Cavill as an actor. But if I had to pick Idris Elba, man, I know the biggest thing is putting a black actor in a normally white role freaks people out. But when I literally can't think of a better. He's literally one of the few actors I can think of that actually transcend his race,
his color.
Right, and I'm like, yeah, he fits the role perfectly. It doesn't matter that he's black. It's like he fits.
Isn't he British as well?
Yeah, he
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
And it
They're
doesn't
both
matter.
British.
He's,
Yeah.
Like it's so even though it's normally a white character, I'm like, yeah, but he's the perfect role.
Right.
So he's the
Right.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of Cavill. I always have been. Now, Idris Elba piques my interest. I think you're going to have different Bonds. If you go with Henry Cavill, Cavill's a little bit younger. He has that more classic. That's why he could play Superman. That classic, quote, handsome look, Yeah. And I think you could do an action style with him. You could do an action style with Idris Elba as well, but it would be a different. I think Idris Elba would be more akin to the Bonds before.
Yeah.
Craig, what do you think, Drucker? Where are you?
I think I side a little bit with Elba. I've been looking forward to seeing a new face as Bond. I'm not a huge Daniel Craig fan with Bond.
He is my favorite
when I think of
Bond.
I grew up watching some of the Bonds, but when I think of Bond, I think of his charm and his gadgets, not just he's an action hero.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like going back to Idris Elba would bring him back more to a charm Bond.
Yeah.
And a gadget Bond.
Yeah.
Serena? You're on, so you have to share your thoughts.
I actually haven't seen any of the Bond movies. I've only seen one of them.
Which
I
one?
barely remember it.
Do you even know which one? Do you know which
I don't
actor?
even know.
That's fine. Well, I think the biggest issue that is arising here with this is that the fact that he is black, not Henry Cavill, obviously, but Idris Elba, and
what?
yeah, Henry Cavill's black. Didn't you know that?
He is?
No. And here's
I
the
thought it
issue.
like transcended seeing race. I'm like, I'm so proud of myself.
Here's the problem that I see with going either way. If they go with Idris Elba, you're going to have a lot of people screaming about how this is a traditionally white role. You're only going with Idris, and I don't agree with this line, but you're only going with Idris Elba because he's black, and you want to break through barriers. The same reason we had an all-female-led Ocean's 8 and an all-female-led Ghostbusters and stuff like and stuff like that.
Was good though.
I'm not saying there can't be good movies, but I'm saying, but
was good?
Ocean's 8.
I thought it was good.
yeah.
But you're going to have that side. And then if they go with Henry Cavill, you're going to have the other side screaming, well, you said it was Idris Elba. You backed out of it because enough people were mad that he was going to be black. Yeah. And whichever actor this is going to face a ton of backlash strictly because they aren't the other actor.
Yeah.
And that stinks because I think, I agree, both of them could play very good Bonds.
And the thing with
ultimately
James
with Bond,
Bond is it's a character that every couple of years they switch
It
out.
changes, yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
it's not like what Warner Brothers thinks with Superman, where you switch actors with Henry Cavill. But I'd be interested to see Elba get the chance at it.
Yeah.
He's a very stoic British.
It also depends on what kind of Bond you're going for.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, is that you take you can't, I know, but if you take the race thing out of it, it's like, all right, well, Cavill and Elba are two very different people.
Right.
So what are you going for?
Yep.
And then in terms of acting and I think Cavill would do really well as a very suave James Bond.
Yeah.
Although I think so would Elba,
Elba
but
could play
a
it.
different kind
Right.
of like he's
Cavill's definitely a pretty boy, though.
Cavill's like the charming
He's
smooth
Daniel
talking
Craig.
one. Yeah.
He's another Like Craig.
Where Elba
But
seems
better
to be
looking.
more
Well,
like
way
the
better
more
Yeah.
Maybe
silent
Juicy.
kind of.
I would say he has great thighs.
You can't steal what I said. By the by, if you haven't seen Henry Cavill's thighs, go look at them. Solid thighs.
Juicy.
Like if you cooked them, they would not be dry. You're not going to cook some dry thighs there.
Yeah, no dry
I'm
thighs.
concerned that you want to eat someone's thighs.
Well, we talk a lot about
Serena,
thighs.
would you say dry thighs?
Have you looked at Henry Cavill's thighs lately?
In the background of my computer.
For those of you that don't know, gosh, this was 3 months ago. We talked about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's thighs for one point.
Yeah.
So now any actor. No, I agree though that with that. So I mean, there's not much more to be said about that until we know who the actual actor is going to be.
True.
And there's a chance it won't be either of them.
Yeah.
They've been
You
there
know,
was talks of Elba replacing Bond before
since
Spectre
like
even
Quantum
came
of
out.
Solace, basically.
Quite honestly, yeah. Ever since then, they're like, oh, Craig is out and this is replacing. Well, he kept getting coming back for came back
Massive
for Skyfall,
paychecks.
came back for Spectre,
Which
and coming
I
back
love
for this next movie because we all thought Spectre was his last one too.
Right, because they seem to wrap up the plot. They wrapped everything
crescendo
up
pretty well.
Right. They probably should have get Daniel Craig's Bond
Spectre.
Yeah.
with that.
It would have
not
been the
trilogy,
perfect ending to
quadrilogy.
his story.
Exactly. He walks off with his girl, which is in my opinion probably the best Bond girl because she wasn't just eye candy. She was actually a character. Like she was you know.
Yeah.
Classically, the Bond girl has just been eye candy. But she actually had a story arc that was fitting and stuff like that. So Spectre's my favorite Bond movie.
Yeah.
And I know I'm going to catch a lot of backlash for this, probably from our viewers and such, but Craig is my favorite Bond. He's the Bond that I grew up with. I really think whichever Bond you grew up with ends up being your favorite Bond a lot of the time, and I grew up with Craig. And so I like him as Bond. He's also so different from the other ones. But we'll talk about that more when and if they tell us. And we're not going to know who the next one is until after this next one comes out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's going to be years. 2 years at least before we know who this next one is.
True.
And if we're still podcasting at that point, we'll rehash this conversation.
Yeah, we're gonna podcast from the deathbed.
Yeah, of Daniel Craig.
Yeah, of Daniel Craig.
Oh, I thought our deathbed. And you can see my face on the screen. I got super excited by the prospect.
We're just going to roll our beds into the same room. Who's our fifth admin this week? Nurse, get in here!
Be on the camera! You're an admin now!
All right, so let's switch topics here real
full of
quick.
admins.
Let's switch.
Let's crescendo into something else.
Let's talk about the Joker real quick.
Sure.
Just real quick. The pictures that came out of Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. You got that little 30-second teaser where it's kind of superimposed on his face, and then 2 days later we get the actual picture of him as the Joker.
Yeah.
I liked it.
I loved it.
I thought he actually looks good. Now, Serena, and I'm going to you because I know you weren't hot on it. I'm not saying you hated it, but I know you weren't hot on it.
Yeah, let's start off on this side and work our way around.
What is it? Give us your thoughts.
I think, because we talked about this, him resembling Heath Ledger, but it felt like it was more of a downgrade than an upgrade from him. So I felt like there was some resemblance, and I really did like
Was it
the way
the greasy hair look?
They
maybe.
did take the longer hair with the green in it. Yep.
I felt like the makeup was a little over the top too, like a little too much.
Yeah.
Little too actual clown, not
Yeah,
as
a little
much
too
Joker.
clowny instead of Joker.
Yeah.
Okay. And I agree with all of that. I do.
See, I didn't have so much a problem with either the video that came out or the makeup as much as just the premise of the whole movie.
Yeah.
I really don't want a Joker origin movie, especially one that's not going to be canon to the DC universe that they're trying to build or destroy or whatever.
Maybe it is now.
Who knows? But I'm just not a fan of the premise. Joker's a villain without an origin. He's a mysterious villain. That's part of what makes him such a great villain and such a special villain. Why ruin that? That's my thing.
Money.
True.
That's the best reason
Make
Hollywood ruins everything.
Hey, make a Batman movie with Joker in it. You make
Who's
some money.
Batman?
Batman.
The Bat.
What was I talking to? Was I talking to you about this? That
You talk to anybody but me?
pretty much.
Oh.
We were talking about how you were like, oh, he's going to take a little bit of inspiration, and you were listing the names. You said Romero at one point. And I said I'd love it if it was based off the Romero
we did
Joker.
talk about that. Yeah.
The whole movie, just him completely. And we were saying,
Dear me.
he's having conversations with Batman who's not there the whole movie. I just. He's in a surfing contest by himself.
Please don't do. Oh, no.
That'd be awesome.
Oh, no. Oh, gosh. Tony, what did you think of the makeup? Because that's really all we have. We don't have an actual trailer or anything, so we're going off of how he looks.
I actually posted the pictures on the Facebook page.
Yep.
If you guys happen to go on the Facebook page, you can see it. I think it's 5 or 6 posts ago. They had some close up pictures from the Joker trailer snippet, whatever, blah 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 blah. I think it's going to be interesting the way that it comes out. I don't know if I'm necessarily excited or not excited for the whole
There's
origin
some
movie
stuff
thing.
going on here. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. I don't know how to take it. I mean, we only got that small little clip of them in a train, the train station, or subway station, and the Joker coming out. I like his outfit. I think his suit looks great.
Yeah.
I think it goes back to the older style of Joker, where he wears very elaborate, colorful suits.
A lot like Heath Ledger's Joker with the purple suit that they bought.
Which I thought was awesome.
You bought it. The only thing I didn't like were the eyes. The red triangles.
The red triangles on the eyes.
It didn't work for me.
And it was one red triangle.
I apologize.
And it was
blue. Yeah.
It was
and maybe it changes later on in the movie. We don't know. It's possible that this is not the actual Joker, that he hasn't formally.
And maybe his character evolves.
Exactly. We don't know anything about what this part of the movie is or anything.
And unlike Jared Leto's,
Please
Joker,
don't call him the Joker.
Unlike his version of the Joker, all the tattoos and everything, you can't change that.
Right.
With Joaquin
You can change it because it's clearly face paint.
Right.
Yeah.
So with that, it's okay, this movie does really well. There's just going to be a sequel. They can just update
Is it?
the face paint.
It's very possible that in one of the